Hi everyone, and welcome to one of our videos from the Love Your Body series. I'm Nikki and I want to talk to you today about how to look after neck and shoulder problems, headaches and neck pain, and how you can sort of help yourself at home. So as well as being a sports therapist, I'm also a Pilates teacher, so I use Pilates quite a lot with my clients, so I can give you some exercises and things as well. Just to say that this is really to use alongside seeing a therapist. If you've got severe pain or something very new, then it's good to go and see somebody before you do any stretches from this video. This is really for people who are suffering with achy type muscles or headaches, as opposed to any really terrible pain in the spine where something else could be going on. So just to say that if you have got a lot of pain, then do go and see either a sports therapist, a physiotherapist, osteopath, whatever you think you need before doing any of these stretches, just to check that you don't have anything going on in the spine that would stop you from doing them. So one of the things that you can do at home if you're struggling with these problems, and it's great if you're having a regular massage, but you can do these things in between your massages. So a few kind of what should be your best friends if you're struggling with achy muscles. Heat is absolutely fantastic and will really help you out. I love the wheat pillows because they mould to the area you're putting them on. I find if you're using a hot water bottle, it's quite stiff and you can't really get it on the area. So I like the fact that you can sort of drape these around whatever's hurting, you know, sit with them around your back against the sofa, that sort of thing. And they're a really nice heat and it lasts for a long time. So I really recommend getting yourself a wheat pillow. And for me, the best time to heat is when you finish work, when you've had a busy day, when you've spent time sitting in those awkward positions, you know, whether you work at a desk and you're rounding your shoulders, you're a hairdresser and your arms are up all the time, or you're driving a lot, you've been shortening your muscles all day, sitting in those funny positions, and then what we want to do at the end of the day is to really try and lengthen those muscles back out and to relax them so that each day you're not building up that shortening, and then you'll find that your body is in the incorrect position, which is going to give you more pain. So if you can heat every day, that's fantastic. Leave it on for 20-30 minutes. It's not like ice where you can only leave it on for a short length of time. You know, it doesn't really matter if you have it on for longer. But just make sure you do give yourself a break and make sure you don't have it too hot. But the wheat pillows are good. You pop them in the microwave for 2 to 3 minutes and that's a really nice heat. So that's definitely one thing. Another good thing that you can do at home is have a salt bath. So I love salts and also just the heat of the bath. But if you're having a salt bath, remember you do need to stay in there for about 20 minutes to get the benefit of the salts that will absorb into your body in that time. Lots of different salts. We've got Dead Sea here. Also really like Epsom. That's a really good one if you've got achy muscles. It's really good to bring down any swelling. Dead Sea is a bit of an all-rounder. It kind of helps with everything. It will also soften the skin. So it's a really good way of relaxing those achy muscles. And then Spiky ball. These are fantastic to have at home. You might also have a foam roller. I don't have one of those today, but they're also really good for using on the legs. Spiky ball I love because you can get into lots of different places to really relax the muscles in between your massages. So we're going to do a bit of the spiky ball. And then just good old-fashioned stretching is absolutely incredible. Most people don't stretch enough. Most people don't hold their stretches for long enough. Sometimes I see people and they'll pick up, they'll do a quad stretch, and then they'll move to the next quad stretch, and you're not holding it for anywhere near long enough for your muscles to actually lengthen. So we've really got to be holding it for a decent length of time and doing it often enough. So I quite like the combination of getting home, heat, and then lengthen out the muscles. You know, you can do it when you wake up in the morning, but if you're a bit cold and you're a bit stiff, then you know, you don't want to injure yourself. So if you can heat the muscles, and at the end of the day, what you've been doing all day is shortening those muscles, you know, having them in bad positions. If you sit with your shoulders up, these muscles are going to get really short, and lengthening them at the end of the day and stretching is going to get you back to square one, ready to do it again the next day. But at least then it's not building up and up and up. So stretching is fantastic. You don't want to hurt yourself when you're stretching. If you do any of these stretches and it hurts, don't do them, choose another one. You want to take yourself to the point where you can just feel a stretch, and then you just want to take nice deep breaths, hold it there and keep just gently trying to get yourself a little bit further. So no kind of quick pull on a stretch, no bouncing that you sometimes see. Just get to a place so that you're not going to injure yourself if you get to a nice comfortable stretch, and then you just hold it there, breathe into it and bring yourself a little bit further. So who are these stretches aimed at? People who have got tension headaches. So it's not necessarily going to help migraines or headaches for another reason, but if you've got that tension headache that sits around here and you feel it above your eyes, what that is you've got the muscles that come in here, join into the head, and then they shoot over the top here. So if you've got any pain here and here, or you just feel like you're constantly doing this, then you really need to be stretching out your neck. That's going to really improve your headaches. Have a look at yourself in the mirror and see how you naturally stand, because you might find, do it at the end of the day, because then you'll get a better feel for it. So things that we see here with people who are coming in for massage are either they are lifting their shoulders from their collarbone. So when you look in the mirror, you'll see that this looks very shortened. So you're shortening all of your muscles in here. These are your scalenes, and they're really important for headache muscles because they attach up into the head. So if you look in the mirror and you see that you're doing this and your shoulders are lifted, then you know that you need to work on lengthening this back out to get your shoulders back down. The other thing that you sometimes will find when you look in the mirror is that your shoulders roll. Sometimes you can see it better if you stand to the side, and you'll actually see that the shoulder rolls forward. Now, if your shoulders roll forward, which a lot of people do, your pec muscles are sitting much shorter than they should be. So I'm exaggerating, but if my shoulder's coming forward here, this pec muscle is completely shortened, and every time I lift my arm, I'm overworking muscles that shouldn't be lifting my arm because my shoulder is not stabilised in its correct position. So where your shoulders sit is really important. So have a look in the mirror. Are they rolling forward? Are you lifting from here? Or are they skew width? Is one higher than the other? Or do you have a really pronounced upper trap here? So men, if you're doing a lot of working out, you might find that this is very heavily overworked, and that is going to be making all those muscles short. So if you're doing a lot of working out, then you're shortening your muscles to build your muscle. You need to get some length back in them to stop the headaches and stop the neck pain. So things we want to think about, if our shoulders are rolling, the most important thing that we want to stretch is our pecs. Now you might not find that you're in pain in your pecs, but you'll probably be in pain in your neck, coming from the corner of the shoulder up into the head. Now that's because your shoulders are not in the correct position. So if your shoulders roll, they can't move correctly. They're supposed to track in a certain alignment. If they're rolling forward, they can't move correctly. So although you might not feel pain and tension in your pecs, you might be feeling it around here into the head, headaches. You might have pain here, especially if you work out, because every time you lift your arm, your shoulder's not tracking correctly, so you're using the wrong muscles to lift your arm from what your body should be using. So you can sometimes get pain here. That's coming from a shoulder roll. So most important stretch, if you only want to add one thing into your day, is a pec stretch. So you want to be against a wall. You can do it with a bent and a straight arm, and you want to turn yourself away. So I'm looking in the opposite direction and I can feel a stretch all the way across my pecs here. Now your pecs do this, they twist into themselves. So they work in all different directions. So some muscles, there's just one way to stretch it. With the pec, you might want to have your arm higher. If the tension is much lower in here, you might want to have your arm much lower and more of a twist. You might want to straighten your arm and twist away. There's no wrong for this stretch, you just need to play around, and where you feel the stretch, stop and hold the stretch. So if you're with a straight arm and you can't really feel the stretch, then try some other things. But essentially we're rotating the arm back, and you want to feel the stretch all across your pec here. If your shoulder is rolling, it's going to be sort of the midsection of your pec normally that's very, very tight, so you'd want your arm to be fairly level. But some people get much tighter down here. It depends if you're working out, it depends exactly how you're sitting. So just have a play around with that positioning, and anything that you can feel a stretch standing in that position, stand and hold your stretch. So that's number one, most important thing that we can add if our shoulders are rolling. Now, if our shoulders have been rolling, as I said, the muscle that joins from the corner of your scapula here, your shoulder blade, and attaches up into the head is going to be tight because your shoulders have sat in the wrong place, so it's overworking. So we really need to stretch that. So what we're going to do is we're going to look down to our armpit, take the same hand up to your head, opposite hand is going to stretch down to the floor. So you're really reaching with your opposite hand and you're pulling your chin down. So making sure that you're looking to the armpit. If you're too far here, you're going to be getting the wrong muscle. Still a good stretch, but the wrong muscle for what we're talking about. So you want to really feel this stretch into this muscle here and down into your shoulder. So looking down to the armpit, reaching with the hand and holding it there, and of course do the other side. Now when you look in the mirror to see what's going on with your shoulders and what's causing some of this pain, if you feel quite lopsided, so perhaps you get more pain in the left, and when you look in the mirror you can see that this shoulder is more raised, or this shoulder looks a bit more skew-with than the other, there's no reason why you can't double stretch that side. So maybe we're going to do a stretch on our left, we're going to hold it, minute or two for your holds, come to the right, and then we're going to re-stretch the left because we want to stretch them both, but we want to try and get that left to catch up with the right. So you can absolutely add an extra stretch on your bad side, either the side that causes you more pain or the side that looks a bit more wonky, to try and get that down. Same with the pecs, you can double stretch the pec with the shoulder that's rolling forward more. So the other thing that's good for the neck, and we're working more then on the muscles either side of the spine. So people who get that really stuck area in here, sometimes you can have a raise in your spine where it feels like it really sticks out and it feels very stiff around that vertebrae. Now sometimes this means you need to see a chiropractor because it might mean that vertebrae is out of place. So just bear that in mind. Maybe you're already seeing a chiropractor, but that is tension in those muscles either side of the spine. So a lovely stretch for that. Super simple. Clasp your hands behind the head. Tuck your chin, it needs to go straight down in a straight line. Elbows are in, and you're just pulling the head down. And you'll feel a lovely stretch all the way from the head and down. Some people feel it quite low down into their back, depending on how tight they are. So nice and simple. These stretches you can just do at the end of the day, really simple and really easy. So that's a good one to combine with your side by one. And then we've got upper traps. So if you're the person that can see extra definition in here, or you know that you lift your shoulders up when you're working, or you're a hairdresser, you're somebody that has a job where your arms are always up, which therefore means this is being overworked and shortened, then stretching your upper traps is fantastic. So they're running down alongside here. So similar to what we were doing when we looked down to our armpit, but we're going to keep our heads face forward. I'm going to hold the head, opposite hand again stretches down to the floor, that's just going to increase your stretch. And you're pulling your ear down to your shoulder. So don't do this. Your ear stays straight and your head stays looking straight forward, and the opposite hand is reaching down to the floor. Such a lovely stretch. You can feel it all the way from the corner coming right up into the head. So all of these are fantastic if you've got tension headaches, because all of these muscles are joining into your head. So anything that's causing tension here and causing headaches is because this is so shortened that it's pulling on all of its attachments. So it's really causing your head a lot of pain because the muscles are too short. So it's all about gaining length in those muscles. So those are really quick ones that you can add. And another one that's really good for you to add if you have headaches is to work your scalenes in here. So this one is quite hard to do for just on your own. You need a little towel. I'm going to grab a towel. So you need to make sure you've got this one right. So perhaps you'll pause and come back to it. Hook the towel underneath the bottom of your skull. Change hands. Make sure you change hands. This bottom hand that is low, you don't do anything with it. If you do something with it, you'll strangle yourself. This hand stays still. Your top hand is going to pull to twist. So I'm pulling my head round and I'm keeping my head nice and straight. Don't let the head drop or lift up. So I'm keeping my eye line in line and I'm just pulling my head directly around, but I can't push my own neck far enough to get a good stretch. This stretch is lovely. You feel it all the way up here and into your head. If you get tension headaches, this is a lovely one to do when you feel that headache starting to come on, and this can sometimes stop it in its tracks. Or if you know that you get headaches, do this regularly because it will stop them. It will really lengthen out these muscles for you. So you're crossing, keep the low hand still, high hand pulls round. And again, obviously I'm not holding any of these stretches for the time that I should be. So 1 to 2 minutes, and that's just a lovely stretch from in here. Obviously swap sides. So there's a few stretches for your neck. Now I want to show you, so we've stretched out our pecs, that's going to get our shoulders back into the position we want them to be in. We've stretched out these, so if we've got this happening, we're going to lengthen that out. And we've stretched out everything that joins into the head to stop those tension headaches and aches and pains. So in between your massages, it's also really good to almost give yourself a bit of a massage. But if you don't know how to massage, we all get our partners sometimes to have a little dig, and it really hurts. And I know sometimes if you get a deep tissue or a sports massage, it can hurt, but we know exactly where we're trying to, to focus that. And if someone's just prodding, it's not really ideal. You can end up doing more harm than good. Whereas a spiky ball is fantastic because it's much less specific. You're not just getting in there and prodding, you're actually working the whole of the muscle. But also what I love is it works on your fascia. I'm not going to get too technical, but let's just say that the fascia surrounds your muscles and works through the whole body. If you can loosen up the fascia in the body, then that's really going to help how your muscles feel. It's going to help that achy feeling that you have. So with this, you pop it against a wall, or you can use it against the floor. But for the shoulders, if you imagine the camera is my wall and I have this ball against the wall, you feel a bit like a bear, and you're basically rolling yourself up and down. So bend your knees up and down, and that will make the ball come up and around your shoulder blade. So where your shoulder blade is this side, so you want to sit one side of the spine, don't do it over the spine. Here's your spine, and the ball is going to come up and around your shoulder blade, and that's just going to loosen that. You can bend your knees a bit more and you can bring the ball up and around the shoulders, but you want your weight to be back into the wall. Another nice one is you can bring the arm out, which means we've brought the shoulder blade out away from the wall. So then as we roll up and down, the shoulder blade stays like this. So I'm doing this with my ball behind me, but it can get right in behind the shoulder blade because we've pulled the shoulder blade out of the way. So you can just have a play with these. I mean, you can sit with them on your glutes and roll them around your glutes. You can roll a spiky ball anywhere. Obviously, if it's super painful, stop. It should feel quite intense when you're doing this. It's a bit like having a massage, but so it needs to feel like it's doing something, but if it's painful, then stop. So that's a great one for the shoulders, getting it in and around that shoulder blade, just loosening up those muscles from the day, up and around here and underneath the shoulder blade. But you can use it, you don't have to be against a wall. What's good about a wall is you've got your body weight into the spiky ball, but you can just use this just to massage with. If your pecs are tight, you can just sit and push the spiky ball. You can just give it a roll around, or get someone to help you and massage you with the spiky ball. It's just a good kind of general massage. Now you're still going to need to come in and have a massage therapist really get into those areas, but it's a great maintenance in between your massages. So we really recommend a massage once a month. Some people will go longer, some people will come back quicker. But if you're doing all these things in between your massage, then that's really going to help you maintain your muscles in between. So get home from work, heat, have your spiky ball. You could do that every day, or you could do it a few times a week, but heat every day if you can, and your stretches every day if you can. And that's just really thinking about lengthening everything back out again. That gets tight as we work and we sit in those positions. So remembering those stretches, as I say, make sure you hold them for long enough, so a couple of minutes if you can, and doing them regularly and really getting that heat in there. Remember, some people will, if they're in pain, will try and use cold to numb the pain. But unless you've got that real specific new injury, ice is not really what you want to be using on those areas. You really want to get that heat in there. Obviously, if you've sprained something, injured yourself, it's inflamed, then of course go with ice. But if you're thinking about muscles that are just always achy, very chronic, you have it all the time. You can see when you look in the mirror, you have a bad positioning of your shoulders or of your collarbone, then heat is definitely ideal for that. So we have a fantastic offer this month where we actually have a little muscle kit that we've put together for achy muscles, where you'll get a spiky ball, you'll get one of our wheat bags that come in lots of different patterns, styles. You'll get a bag of salt of your choice, and that's £26, and then you also get a free body buffer in there as well. So, you know, not a lot of money in order to be able to keep everything going at home in between your massages. So come in and see us. We have lots of different massage. If you're experiencing all these aches and pains, then I definitely would say to go for our deep tissue. Or if you're not a fan of deep tissue, then maybe our signature, which is sort of one step down, but still does a lot of stretching and works on those achy muscles. So we hope to see you soon, and we hope you enjoy our Love Your Body month.